What's going on, Myles?
What? It's Friday. What's going on?
Friday.
It's my early night in bed.
Gotta get down on Friday. Is it? Wait, it's not even early there anymore. We still got to do a whole show. How are you going to be?
Yeah, before midnight. It's early. I was just getting sleep. What's going on, Brian?
Oh, am I
What's
waking
happening?
you up? Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I would say, listen, your hair looks awful. Because you just crawled out of bed. I would listen before we start the show. You might want to put a hat on.
Okay. Let me see what I got here. All right. Anything else? Should I put some clothes on as well?
No. Got to do an episode for the ladies, Myles.
Okay. I'll put clothes on then.
That's true. We want these people to come back. Also, before we start, do you have the Hurricane app? Can you just go on that real quick and you turn it down or off or something just before we get going?
Yeah.
I don't want anybody missing the show. You know what I'm saying? Like we have full control.
Just turn hurricanes off. Yeah.
Turn off for the evening. You know, before you go back to
airplane
bed.
mode. Yeah. All right.
Exactly.
5 hours. Next 5 hours. No hurricanes.
Sweet. Perfect. Now take a 5-hour energy and let's get the show on the road.
Let's do it.
Let's go. This is PSVR GAMESCAST Live, where we film live every single Monday, Wednesday, and 2 Eyes Friday. Right here on YouTube, we do it live, 6 p.m. Eastern, for your viewing pleasure. But don't you worry, we also care. Oh, boy, dude, listen, I want to talk about oral pleasure here in a second, but I want to go full screen on Myles over here. Look at how sexy that lighting is. That is some sexy-ass Halloween lighting you got going on over there.
Gone a bit Halloween-y for the spookiness, and I've got a little... Don't want to spill this anyway. Got a little skull here.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow, I'm terrified.
Yeah, it's pretty spooky. Pretty spooky, Brian.
What does the skull do?
It just smells the room up a bit. I don't even know what it is, what the smell is. It's not that nice, to be honest, but I feel like I've paid for it now, so I just have to endure it for however many days it lasts for.
Man, you're making my setup over here look like a piece of crap, Myles. I'm very not. What's the opposite of festive?
Dude, yours is like proper retro. Yours is like retro and nostalgia filled. Is that just VHSs behind you?
Yeah, I run it, dude. I run a VR channel. We're in the wrong direction over here. I need headsets hanging from the wall. I need futuristic tech. I need laser beams shining in one ear and out the other. Sirens on my end. That's pretty fucking futuristic. It's like the world of cyberpunk. Fucking crazy, dude. I hope in the future sirens become less annoying. Because they're so annoying. Only when you hear them all
it's going to be like tinnitus, though. When they finally go, you'll just still hear them. You'll just be so conditioned.
Yeah.
They'll never go away.
Yep. We also care about your oral pleasure, though, and that's why our good friend RyPop uploads this on podcast services of your choice. Hey, while we're giving shout-outs, listen, Rody, the GameCat Army General, dude, used to have to do timestamps once a week for GamesCast Live, but now he's going to do it 3 times a week. So let's give a shout-out to Rody out there, who puts his heart and soul into this shit. He does way more than any moderator should. Actually, Nick does too, and so does Rob. Dude, we get some moderators here working overtime. You guys have no idea how much it takes to keep the Discord civil. My name is Brian Paul from this channel right here without parole, and this gentleman over here, dude. I feel like it's been a while. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
We didn't do this last week, did we?
No, we didn't.
Holy crap!
This is the first one.
Can we do a virtual hug?
Yeah, sure. Is this awkward?
Oh, you can see all the cat hair on my shirt now that I got close to the camera. So.
Yeah, that's the problem with having good cameras now.
Yep. No more hugs,
dude. I took a photo of a candle next to my bed last night, the one it's like a scent that's meant to help you sleep, and I thought, oh, this is a nice photo, I'll post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And as I was about to post it on, the camera had in focus like one hair just on the table next to it. And I'm like, I can't post this. People think I'm a monster.
Oh my God. Monster. Oh
yeah.
My God.
Humans and hair don't have hair.
Dude, everything I have is like coated with tornado hair, and also like we've been tearing down walls here, and like we took down popcorn ceilings, so everything, hold on a second, like legit, ready, everything that I own is coated. Thanks, camera.
You got to block your face out. That's the problem. Yeah, there you go.
this is so dumb. Is it working? I can't see. I know.
It's coated. You got to do it like with a piece of paper or something.
No, we're good. I already snorted the line of dust that was on my hand. Wow.
Yeah, you got to get a big pad to cover your face when you want to hold stuff up, so because it looks. See, there you go. Oh, that's perfect.
It's also really dusty. I should have put. See, you can see the
this
dust.
is it. Dude, when I hold up my phone to the screen to show stuff, and I'm like, oh, that has got a lot of fingerprints on it, and that is a gross phone. Yeah.
Bro, everything
Anyway.
I owned. It's like we even covered shit for like a couple days, and like it's like the dust just got under the plastic and everything. I mean, it's such. You know what? I'm gonna stop complaining. But everything here is dusty. So don't you complain about one hair in a photograph. Everything here is disgusting. Man. How you guys doing?
I just say it's good to be back on Fridays. I did enjoy doing like the once a week, but Wednesdays were brutal for me because it's midweek. I do Myles Die Live on a Wednesday, so I would work, do Myles Die Live, and then it's like pretty much going straight into Without Parole.
Yeah.
And I know I see the chatter from Game Cats, and some are just like Myles is just often quite low energy. And you know what? The truth was I was low energy. It was really hard to like just after a long day keep it up there. And now it's Fridays. I feel it's going into the weekend. I've also seen how the show's gone. I was speaking to Brian beforehand on Wednesday and Monday, like having these 1 hour shows just has a really good pacing to it. Yeah. But I also just want to say a massive shout out to the Game Cat community, not only for being just amazing and supportive, but yesterday I did my first PSVR2 Let's Play. I couldn't
Metal
believe
Hellsinger,
it.
right?
Yeah, Metal Hellsinger. My first one in 51 days. I don't think I'd actually put my PSVR2 headset on for a good 2 to 3 weeks. Embarrassing. But you know what it's like, Brian, when you haven't done a particular thing of content-wise for a long time. Yeah. You get this inner anxiety a bit of like, it's been a while, so it's been a while. So, you know, it's really got to be good. And like, is the setup going to be right? Am I going to be out of practice? Yeah. But you just got to go for it. And everyone in the chat was lovely. I had a really good time with the game. And yeah, I was going to be doing Max Mustard tonight. Big shout out to the Max Mustard people. They reached out to me and sent me a key. Nice. But I'm pretty burnt out at the moment, so I'm going to try and do it tomorrow. But yeah, I'm getting in the flow again with PSVR2 Let's Plays. I forgot how much I love doing it. And there's a lot of games to be playing that have already come out. And we've got a massive tsunami of games coming over the horizon this month and beyond. So yeah, just massive love to the community. Yeah. This community rocks.
Yeah, it's been crazy. And dude, I totally feel where you're coming from. Like, you know, you do your channel kind of as like a bonus thing, right? Like that's not your full-time job. That is not what you do for a living, right? Like your full-time job is very, very tiring and demanding. And you still, you know, even though it's been 51 days since your last stream, like you still find time for it, like whenever you can. And I totally respect you for doing that, especially when things are like busy, like right now. You know, this is all I do, and it's still crazy exhausting. Like the number of videos I have half made right now, like sort of like I feel like I'm baking a bunch of cookies for a party that's coming up, but none of them, I don't have like the right ingredients for any of them yet. Like it's just like I'm freaking out, I'm stressing out, and like I feel like I like dealt with like burnout for like the first 2 days of the month already. It was like, what the fuck? Like I was so excited, and it was like, pfft. So like, listen, we're all here, we're all in this together. And so, yeah, shout out to the Game Cat community. You guys are awesome, and you guys always kind of like drag us through the tough times. So, much love all around.
Yeah,
dude,
huge love.
Let's hit up some tips, dude. We got hold on a second. Let's see if we can get this on the screen while we talk about it. Oh, I didn't mean to move that. Stay there. There we go. There it is. Stroke.
Yeah, that one. Oh, that one. Yeah.
That's the one.
That was a good one. That was a good tip.
It was a really good one. Grandpa's Barbecue or Game Cat with the Australian $2 tip says, morning, Brian, and long time no here, Myles. Hell yeah.
I loved, I had some people comment when I did my Let's Play yesterday of, where the F have you been? Like, just general anger. And I was like, it's nice. It's nice when people call you out like that. Right. But yeah.
The Game Cat Andrew Aaron Reich with the level 2 membership, chatting with him on Twitter about Visaged, and about how Sad Square Studios never brought Visage to PSVR 1 like they promised on their Kickstarter. He says with his level 2 membership, says, "Yo, Brian, what up, Myles? Are we expecting Wanderer to actually release this month? Should we start taking pizza bets?" Dude, well, yeah, what do you think? Is Wanderer actually going to make it out? I think they're coming out on the 31st is the plan.
Oh my God, I can't believe we're background. I couldn't believe, yeah, it's because it just had the massive delay. Wanderer was that game that just felt like forever. Did we know about Wanderer coming out with this new version before PSVR2 came out?
Oh, I don't think so.
I mean, I knew, obviously, I know after PSVR2 was announced, that's what I mean, like in that gap.
It's an excellent question, Myles, and you're asking the wrong guy because my memory is absolute garbage.
Yeah. But it has been a game that feels like the longest wait because like the anticipation of, they very early on said, you know, this isn't just going to be a remaster, like it's an expansion, like a deepening of the game.
I kind of wish every studio had the time and money and desire to do that, right?
Yeah. It's an interesting one because it is probably one of my most anticipated games, but because it's a known quantity in terms of being an excellent game already, and I've known about it for so long, in terms of emotionally feeling, I don't feel like overly hyped about it. I just know that the day it drops, I'm going to be, you know, all over that game. It's going to be a good one to live stream as well. Just because of the narrative nature of it. It's a very cinematic game, and for anyone who's never experienced it, obviously we don't know until the full version comes out. We assume it's going to be better than the original, but anyone who's not experienced this, you're really in for a treat. It's a very special game.
I put a hat on because I was feeling left out.
Love it.
Also, I just realized the hat is also really dusty.
There you go. That's it. Part of the style.
Yeah, man, I'm feeling the exact same way about it. Wanderer should be the most anticipated game on our list, but we've played a good majority of it. I can't imagine that they changed the core mechanics or the core puzzles or the core anything. I mean, maybe they did, right? Maybe when you go to the moon, it's a completely different experience, and like you're doing something completely different. I have no idea, but knowing that we've already kind of played through it, it's like, it makes it a little less exciting, but it makes me way more excited for the people who have never even played the original version. That being said, Myles, I don't think it's going to come out in October. Like,
you don't.
Well, I mean, think about it this way, right? First of all, they suffered a few delays already. This studio wants to make this game perfect. They could have pushed it out months ago and just been like, we'll patch the bugs as we go, right? But they didn't do that. They want this to be perfect. So if there's anything wrong with it, I feel like they're going to delay it. And I think when they look at the release calendar and go, oh, Jesus, we're up against lots of other games. There's like 5 games coming out in the last 2 days of October. I don't think it'd be the worst thing if it got pushed into November or December. Although the more games that get pushed into November and December, the worse November and December is going to be too.
Right.
So
yeah. I've got so much love and respect for their social media community team managers because. Doing social media strategy and doing the rhythm of like building up momentum to a release and having to keep delaying it, and like for a game that people already knew about and like they've been doing it for like a year and a half, that's not an easy task. So I've got a lot of respect for that because that would be an absolute nightmare.
Big time. Lewis Matthews with the €5 says, "Hey guys, hey Lewis, still cannot believe that we're getting Hitman on PSVR2. This to me,
dude, I can't either. The fact you said that, I was like, I forgot it, and it was only told last week."
I'm gonna just bring up the trailer. You guys are probably sick of watching Wander at this
Love
point.
it.
So let's bring up that. This to me is a system seller like Gran Turismo 7 or RE4. Sometimes dreams come true. I believe you.
Potentially.
Yeah, and it's cool because I feel like people are saying the same thing about Metro. Metro has a place in a lot of gamers' hearts, and for them to be like, oh, this is sort of like Horizon, right? Where it's like, this is another game in that series. It's not just a flat game that got made, that was given a VR version, like Resident Evil 7 and 8, and I was going to say 9, but we don't have 9, 4. Right? Like, you don't have to have VR. You've already experienced those games. But for fans of Metro, they've got to get this game to experience more of the story, right? This is not going to be a flat screen game as far as we know. So I think it is a system seller, and I think you're right with Hitman as well. Holy crap! I didn't realize we had all these tips. Hold on. First of all, I got to fix this window. It's going to drive me insane. Here we go. There we go. Everything's got to be neat and orderly and perpendicular and parallel. It's going to have the proper borders on it, or I'll go crazy. Macho, the real estate procrastinating game cat with a $2 tip says, not Myles wearing a got hat. Is that a Ghost of Tabor hat?
It is indeed.
Oh shit! Oh shit! I didn't even notice.
They were very kind and sent me a crate. It was absolutely huge behind me with lots of goodies in it. So was grateful for that. We don't actually know a release date, do we?
No, sir.
And this is not me lying about anything, by the way. Like I genuinely don't know. But having received this, it must be getting close. But I just know it's one of those things, kind of like the conversation with Wanderer just now, which is if they're trying to, polish it up and there's any issues they're running against, then they're going to take their time until it's right. And as as you said, there's so many games coming out. I feel that we've kind of seen this, haven't we? Like as the year and a half has gone since the launch of PSVR2, it felt very early on that it was just get it out and then fix it later. And we saw a lot of devs do that and pay the price for it. I definitely feel I think it started most noticeably with Madison. I think Madison was really like the turning point with these games of like, sorry, we're going to delay it again. We have to get it right. And they delayed it and they were rewarded for it because they were right to do that. And I just feel that with the amount of games coming out now, it just gives a bit more cover and of a reason, because it's often that devs are dealing with their publishers. Devs might be like, we need a bit more time, and publishers are like, nope, this has to go out. Whereas now if devs are like, but look at all these games that are coming out, the publishers are like, yeah, all right, maybe we should wait for a clearer window. So
it's the smarter move, like I think the only games that get to make a second chance, or the only games that get to have a second chance at a first impression, are big games. Like if you're not Cyberpunk, then the game comes out, people say it's crap, and then it gets about like 15 updates, and then it's like, yeah, in most people's minds, the game's still crap. So don't fucking release your game until it's ready. The VR community is way too small to get that kind of negative publicity. You're screwed if you let that happen. And when I say you let that happen, you're letting it happen. Like you are the developer, you're the publisher, you are in control of this stuff. So don't let it happen. A Dizzle with the Canadian 279 says 3 days a week again. Chef's kiss. I don't think I've ever did a chef's kiss. Was that good? Was that a good chef's kiss?
Yeah.
Do you make the sound, or do you just do the? Yeah.
I think it's just a. Yeah. Yes. Voila. Is voila not even French? I don't know.
I don't know.
Italian. What type of chef are we, or is it the Swedish chef? I'm not going to do the British.
It's a good question. The Game Cat Andrew Ehrenreich with the $5 tip says, "Wait, in Wanderer we go to the moon like that bitch Alice Cramden? Fuck yeah, that's right. I want to talk to Samson.
Go to the moon. You want to talk to Samson?
Yeah, I didn't get a Ghost of Tabor crate. Fuck those guys. Also, I also haven't checked my PO box in like months. So if they sent me one, it probably came in one. But also, they probably didn't send me one. So fuck those guys, dude. It might be en route.
It might be en route.
I know there's going to be people who are like, "Oh, Brian's entitled." Whoa, whatever. I don't want any more junk hanging around my apartment. I really don't. Like, I threw away stuff that I'm sure some people would have really liked because it was just like big cardboard boxes full of like press kits and shit from like The Walking Dead Onslaught and I Expect You to Die Too, and I mean, you name it, and it was just like boom, 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 all piled up, and I was like taking up so much in my apartment. Like, just it goes in the trash. I need to get my life back. I need to get my apartment back.
Would you like a Ghost of Tabor hat, Brian?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
If you said yes, I would have been like, "We'll get you one. We'll get you one."
Yeah, maybe Into the Radius.
But it's going to be a hard sell to go to him and say, Brian said he doesn't want one, but can you send him one anyway?
I know, right? Listen, ever since I didn't get the Demio board game, I was like, fuck all this shit. That was the only one I wanted, and I didn't get it. Maybe I should have reviewed the game. Maybe I should have. Oh man, I don't even want to think about launch. Launch was so crazy, dude. It's fucking like 20 minutes into the show. We haven't started, so let's kick it off with a viewer takeover question, guys. You know how you get your viewer takeover questions on the show. All you have to do is go to our Discord, click the link in the description below, join, come hang out with us. That's where these conversations happen 24/7, and you can leave your viewer takeover questions, get on the show without spending a penny. I don't want to hear anybody complaining about, oh, you didn't read my comment because I didn't give him money. All he cares about is money. No, dude, you leave a good viewer takeover question, you get on the show absolutely free, like Simply Mincy just did with hashtag viewer takeover. I recently started diving into Souls-like games. I'm doing Wukong, then Sekiro, and building up to Elden Ring. I'm looking to do something similar with horror games in VR. Yet, like Souls games, I'm trying to build up a tolerance for the genre. What starter horror games would you recommend to start me and get to a point where I could play something as intense as Madison? The answer is you cannot prepare for Madison. Moving on.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a really good question. And normally I look at the questions before we go on, and even though Brian sent me it, I didn't have a look at it. Yep. And what is a good starter one? I mean, it depends really, because I think there are two. I think there are two types of starters. One of them is like, do you want to just get a starter of the feel of like horror and being on edge, or do you want a starter in terms of dealing with like the mechanics of horror games? Because some of the things that make them scary and stressful is, you know, being put in a horrible situation, but then like having to think about the controls and things like that. So, for example, and it was on your list, great video you did this week of the top 10 was Affinity. Was it Affinity the Manor? Afflicted. Now, what is the first word in it?
I want to see how many more guesses it takes you. You got 18 more. Affected. You were so close.
Iffy the Manor. Yeah. It was affected. I said afflicted, and
yeah, that was Afflicted was a decent movie.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been looking at so many horror movies lately. Anyway, Affected the Manor. I think that is an amazing starter, and actually, I'm glad it made it on your list, because that is something I will put friends in. It is not complicated. It is, you just pick up a flashlight and you're walking around a house, and it will just give you jump scares. It will have suspense, sense of dread, claustrophobia, all that sort of stuff. I think if you can play that, that's a good piece. But then it's also depending on what you find scary. I mean, the one game that was on Brian's list that I genuinely can't see myself playing again is Cosmodread. And Cosmodread was fine everywhere except for the spiders. The spiders, that was it. Like, honestly, I can't deal with it. Like those spiders, I'm done. I literally can't do it. So depending on what you're scared of as well, that can impact it. But yeah, as a starting point, I think Affected the Manor is a good starting point.
Yeah, listen, I commend you for thinking the most of our viewers in our community. I think Affected is terrifying, right? Because it is like they don't let you go more than 5 steps without like massive jump scare again, right? Whether it's they're throwing furniture at you, or if you happen to be scared of like dolls or little kids, or just doors being slammed in your face, or bats flying through windows. I mean, like, stuff happens constantly. There's even like, oh, if you're scared of heights, this part's going to get you. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on there. I think Cosmodread is like, I think even for somebody like me who like, kind of accustomed to VR horror, but still a big scaredy cat. I think the games you listed, Myles, are kind of like in the 6 or 7 range in terms of like working your way up. Like if you're starting at 1 and working your way to 10, I think you kind of get to the 5, 6, 7 range. I would start honestly with, I saw somebody mention it in the chat, and I totally agree with you. Whoever said it, I will try to find your name real fast. Crap, I lost you. I'm sorry. But I think that Happy Funland is a great place to start, because it's a horror mood, but not like super scary.
Oh yeah, and then what about Switchback then? Because that's the sort of fun horror. That's what you want. Like, because Switchback does have jumpy moments, but it's more like, I think it's a lot less scary than Rush of Blood, which is a lot more relentless. Yeah.
Absolutely. Switchback is great. I think Happy Funland is great. Honestly, if you're willing, if those games like aren't really getting your blood moving, then I would say take it another notch up with Overdark. Right? Like I think Overdark again is like puts you in this spooky house, but like really gives you lots of time to breathe between each jump or each scare so it's like a little suspenseful, and you're kind of like looking over your shoulder the whole time, but it's not too bad. Hell, dude, wait, hold on. You should just watch my video, Top 10 Scariest Games, and work your way from 10 to 1.
What about RE4?
So I didn't find it scary at all. Like, at all.
Same.
But I did hear from people in the comment section of that video who said RE4 deserves an honorable mention because the bosses definitely creeped me out. They were really big, and so they were intimidating. Like the scale in VR is a big thing. And so again, if like some of these games we're talking about are too much for you, then maybe back up and go to RE4. That might be the speed you're looking for to slowly work your way up. But I mean, like, you know, like soon enough, you've got to play Village before Madison, and then honestly, I think you get to Madison and there's just I was replaying Madison last night, Myles, to capture new footage for tomorrow's spoiler cast, which I'm sure you're super excited about.
Yeah, and just let people know I'm going to be on it. And some people went, "Oh, you shouldn't do it unless you complete the game." Two things: I genuinely do want to go back into it. I've not been in the mental state to play it, and also I do know where the story goes, so it won't be a spoiler for me. And I'm really interested to talk about the end of the game.
Well, so we are doing our spoiler cast tomorrow. It should be 12 noon Eastern time. Figure out that time zone for yourself. And
5 p.m. UK.
What is it? 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Cool. UK. Yeah.
And it sounds like everybody's going to be there. I think we are waiting for a final word from Wes, but as far as I know, it's very probable that all four of us will be there. I just don't think there's anything that'll prepare you for Madison. I went into Madison going, okay, I've already played it. I know where all the scares are. I know everything's going to happen. I played it on hard mode, and halfway through, I had to take the headset off and stop. I was like sweating, and I was like, this is almost not fun because it's so scary, which made me, love the experience. But at the same time, I was like, it's a lot. It's a lot. So you got to work up to Madison, but yeah, there's not much that can really prepare you for it. All right, man. Let's tackle some of these news stories. I think my favorite one that we're going to talk about today is that the developers for Death Relives were over on Reddit and announced that their game, which is a hybrid PS5 PSVR2 game, survival horror game, is coming in January. Myles, based on the trailers and the gameplay we've seen of this game, I don't know where this would fall in the rankings of horror.
Right.
But it definitely it looks like it's doing stuff that's different, right? Like we talked about Home Sweet Home a little bit on Wednesday's show, and that really dives into Thai mythology. So it's like something different. This looks like it goes into like Aztec type mythology. And so again, this is going to be the type of horror that I'm not super familiar with. What's your interest level in all this?
I really like the aesthetic of it. I mean, the trailer I've seen, have they only released like a regular trailer, not a VR one, right?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah.
Because the trailer there's a bit where they're grabbing the corner of the wall, and obviously that's a button action. I'm curious to know how that translates to VR, because if there was a way that, kind of like in, I'm going to say Fract,
yeah,
you actually can hold to the wall and pull yourself around, that can really add to the immersion. And like just little things like that I think are really cool, because often in games, yes, you can pretend you're peering around a wall, but there's actually not the ability to do it. And it looks like a game where you're dealing with a lot of like stealth mechanics, which I think can be terrifying. Especially, I really struggle with games where you're not sure if the enemy's seen you yet.
Right.
Overdarked actually really freaked me out until I kind of knew and understood the enemy, and then I was like, actually, it's not that bad once you know. But it's that sort of tension beforehand. Same with what was the one where you go to the mental asylum as a cop?
That's Afterlife VR.
That's it. Afterlife. Again, there was things where you see something go around the corner and you got to sort of go behind it. Like, am I supposed to do it? And then once you learn the mechanics, but this has some fast-paced moments in it. But yeah, I like the rooms. The environments look beautiful. Curious to see how it looks in a VR headset. But if they do it right, I think this could be excellent.
Yeah. What's funny is that this trailer from a while back says, did that just end off by saying 2024 first quarter? Wait, what? For a second, I was like, oh, they told us months ago that this was actually coming out in early 2025.
Yeah, first quarter. Yeah.
But did it say 2024 first quarter?
Yeah.
So, like,
but it doesn't say VR.
Yeah. Well, it's also not out on flat screen. Yeah, I think it's going to be a simultaneous release. That's what they were making it sound like on Reddit. The funny thing is, they also use the term hybrid, which I was like, which again, that is a Sony term. I did not make that up.
Yep.
I did not say, ooh, hybrid games. No, that is a Sony term. So it's interesting to see a studio like this be using that term. unless they watch without parole. And if that's the case, then hey guys, what's happening? Can't wait to play your game. Yeah, no. Again, I keep bringing up Home Sweet Home for a reason. This that it was such a great horror game on PSVR1, but also it was all about stealth and making sure that the spirit, the demon, whatever the hell it was, didn't see you. And that can be really, really tense in VR. There's something very different about hiding in a locker or behind a desk or something, or under a desk. Sorry, more sirens. On a flat screen game or a third person game, and then doing it in first person VR. Right? It is massively different. So so I really hope they pull this one off. I think they said it's been in development for like 4.5 years, so they are definitely taking their time with it. Yeah, I think they're saying simultaneous release. For the flat and VR version. Death Relives. Come on, here it is. Does it say Q4? Yeah, okay. So it's been delayed a full year. It keeps happening. It's craziness.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Magnum Gaming in the chat with a $2 tip says Madison VR should be in a bucket list.
I agree in the sense of anyone who's never experienced VR before. And it always happens, especially when I speak to friends who are like, is it really that scary? Like horror in VR? I'd put them in it. And because when they go in that opening scene and everything, you just the look of them being like, oh, okay, this feels real.
Yeah.
I just love that we have a game that is just notorious. It lived up to the hype. Which you touched again on your top 10. That was the thing about Madison that was brilliant. It was regarded as the scientifically scariest game ever made. Oh, is it really? And I know, and even you had that concern because you're a horror connoisseur, and a lot of people use that stuff. It happens with movies. Scariest film of the last 10 years.
Well, and unfortunately, when you're that hyperbolic about your own game or your movie or whatever, then like it sets a standard that is almost impossible to live up to.
Right.
Which I think was my issue with Longlegs. We talked about that movie recently, and it was like I thought it was a good movie, but man, like you set it up as like the scariest thing ever, and it really wasn't very scary at all. So like so I had no choice but to feel disappointed. I was like, this isn't what I was even expecting. So good movie though. Yeah. Sorry, I kind of hijacked that whole conversation.
No.
And now Oliver Pine's going to hijack the conversation with 2 rupees. He says, gentlemen, will you review Batman Arkham Shadow? Well, Oliver, since this is your 10th super on a live stream, according to YouTube, then you already know that I do not review PC games or Quest games. We are strictly PlayStation VR and PSVR2. However, I will take the answer a step further and say, yes, I'm going to play it because I have a spot in my heart for Camouflage and Ryan Payton and everybody over there. And when they were, I feel like they never truly got to make the game that they wanted ever, even with Republic or Iron Man. Like, I feel like that they were like, they never quite got there. And so I really want to see if they got there with this game, right? Did they finally deliver on the vision that they set out to make? I think that they're a very talented studio, and I really hope that this is the game that we remember them for. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be playing it, and I will. I'm sure we'll talk about it here. We talk about all sorts of stuff that it's not PSVR related, but don't expect like a video, like a review video, or even an impressions video. We'll just kind of talk about it here when it comes out. We got to keep this place PSVR centric, despite what Wes and AJ want to turn this place into. Samson 143 VR, just like Alice Cramden. $2 tip says, a little late, catching up now. Love the shout out. What's up, dude? Good seeing you.
Much love.
I can't think of Samson without thinking of the GameCat Meetup 2024. Samson was a big part of that. Don't forget, guys, the dates for the GameCat Meetup 2025 have already been announced, and so that is happening. Make your plans now. Get your reservations now before prices go up. If you can book cheap flights, cheap hotel rooms, do what you can. It's going to happen. Very excited. Myles, where the hell are we? Let me figure this out.
Aces of Thunder.
Oh yeah, dude. It's always a good week when Gaijin Entertainment shares some Aces of Thunder footage with us. I can't speak. And I figure let's bring that up and we can go full screen on it. There might not even be much to say, Myles, right? But it's just like when it comes to Aces of
Still
Thunder,
looking forward to it. It looks beautiful.
I just want to look at it and admire it. So,
Yeah, I don't want to. I want to stop looking at it. I want to play it.
yeah. But they share these little clips on Twitter, and like, again, just like I was talking about with Subside on Wednesday, they share these clips, and they're like 30-second clips. They are running at 720p, and so I have to download them from Twitter. I have to re-render them at 1080p so they're the right size on the screen, and they still look just dazzling, absolutely dazzling. Looking when they're flying through the jungle at the scene you just saw, and you see every single tree rendered, and we know that this thing is going to be running at 90 frames native. Like,
it's also the shadows in the cockpit as it rotates. I mean, you get that also in Gran Turismo 7 as you're turning around a corner.
But we don't get many Gran Turismo 7s, right?
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
But this is when the whole cockpit is turning around. I mean, the water, and yeah, it just looks gorgeous. And my issue with previous dogfighting games has always been the sense. I think this is the same for a lot of VR games, actually, not just flying games, but especially flying games. You want that real sense of scale. When you look down at the ground below you, you don't want to be saying, "Oh, that looks like a flat bit of texture." Yeah. You want to be like, "Oh, that looks like a whole world," And so, yeah, this looks absolutely gorgeous.
Zim Talk is in the chat. What's up, Zim? He says, "I'm so bad at dogfighting in VR every single game." Yeah, dude. I mean, I'm not big into flight games. I'm really not. And like dogfighting, I'm like, man, I suck at this. But this is a game like, if you have a PSVR2, you got to get it, right? Just to experience it, and jump in there with friends. Like it's mostly it's multiplayer focused, and so it's like as a community, I think like we need to embrace this thing. That you're going to have friends to jump in there with. It's not like you're going to be playing with a bunch of strangers, right? We're all going to be trying to find our flight legs together and figure out all these controls together. And so yeah. I feel like it's going to be a cool learning experience for everybody involved.
Oh, dude, I hope the in-game voice chat has like the radio sounds so that when you're talking to each other, it's like it's not great quality. It sounds like you're talking over a radio. Yeah. That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
Mayday, mayday. Mayday, mayday. Brian, help me. Mayday.
Right? I'm so down. I feel like even if it doesn't have that, we should pretend that it does and just do it.
Yeah.
All right, man. I feel like I've admired this footage enough, but I gotta say, man, like I do feel like that every single time they put out a video, I just stare and gawk at it and go, how could it possibly be this good looking? Will it be, of the resolution that we hope it is, where it's like super high resolution, and so not only is it crazy detailed, but everything is just popping off the screen like you want it to, like a Madison, like a Propagation, like a whatever else. I can't think of other games off the top of my head. This is why I suck at 20 questions. But yeah. All right, we can move on. Stop staring at this shit. Myles, I want to talk about the Metro footage that was shown off today. There was unexpectedly 6 minutes of new Metro Awakening footage on the PlayStation YouTube channel, and I don't want to say anything else about it. I'm going to start playing it, and I want to hear your thoughts on it because I don't want to tell you what I'm thinking just to influence you in any way. What did you think of the footage that we saw today?
I thought it was great. Before the show, I'd only seen it because MetaQuest was sending out a version on that platform, and then obviously there's been one on PSVR2, and it looks great on both of them. Obviously, PSVR2, I'm most excited for experiencing it on. Look, this game just oozes with atmosphere, and it might sound like the most obvious thing, but atmosphere is everything when it comes to VR. VR is the most personal experience. You are in that world. And so it's very easy to be in beautiful looking games that just feel very stale. But where you've got like the mist and the lights and the dinginess of it, it looks really impressive. Now, I had teased before saying that I'd played Metro, which I had at Gamescom, but I wasn't able to say anything, although I don't believe I was even given an embargo or anything, but I just saw that no one else was talking about it. The context for me, though, was I only played 10, 15 minutes of it, and it was because I literally had no time at Gamescom because I was working to play any games. And at the very end, when we were shutting everything down, I managed to go to the booth. I went in for 10, 15 minutes, took the headset off, And they went, "Oh, have you had enough?" I was like, "No, but unfortunately I've got to go." Like, I was like, "I'm really sorry," like taking a headset off after 10, 15 minutes. So yeah, I've experienced Metro, and because I'm in a position now where I can talk about it, I was very, very impressed. But what I will say was the demo build I had, I think, was I had issues. The only issues I had, I think, were because of the demo build. And just to go into specifics, you start off in like this tutorial area where you go into a room. It feels like the VR missions in Metal Gear Solid. You're in these like white rooms, and it kind of feels like the tutorials also in like the Resident Evil games. You go into a room, you learn a mechanic, you then go on, and so you build this loadout with your bag. And the rucksack is really, really great. And then you go into a level, and I go up to this place where I've got to like turn on this generator to open a door. And I was getting confused on how to do it. And then the guy was like showing me, "Oh, this is on your bag," forgetting that, oh, I was in the demo, so it's a different loadout to what I have now. So like it just felt a bit clunky at the beginning.
Sure.
But I tell you what, the weapons felt really impactful. But the environments were excellent. And the other thing also was I was wearing the in-ear buds, which I know is a weird thing to wear at a convention that they give you. I assume they cleaned in between. But being in an environment at Gamescom, I was like out on the showroom floor, so you can hear people around. And so I also had to keep in mind, I'm not playing this how this is meant to be played. This is meant to be played at home with no like noisy background, so you're really immersed in it. And despite all that, it was really, really great. And I'll just give you one example, and then you can ask me any questions you have about it, because, again, I only played 10, 15 minutes of it.
Sure.
The one bit that really got me, and I'm curious to ask you if there's any other game that's had this mechanic, is there are these sliding doors that you have to open from time to time, where you have to open them with both hands. So you literally have to go right up to them, grab them with both hands. It's not an animation. You literally have to grab them, and you're pulling it over. And as you're pulling it in front of you, there is nothing but like pitch blackness because you're not doing a flashlight. And I played, again, 10, 15 minutes. I didn't run into any danger. I'm assuming there is going to be a point in that game where you are doing that and there's going to be something there waiting for you.
Right.
And that particular, that is just like one tiny example, was excellent. It's such a stupid question. Has there been any other VR game that has that kind of mechanic with?
I mean, the one that pops out to me immediately is Resident Evil Village, which is there's some bookshelves or something that you're moving to like block wall.
Yeah.
But it does feel like you're initiating an animation, and it's sort of like once you get your hands and start pushing, it like takes care of the rest for you. So I don't know if that's what Metro is doing as well. You're doing it the whole time yourself. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
So if you stop, you stop, and stuff like that. I'm seeing on the video now the spiders. I didn't get up to them. I was fighting some rat things and that. Yeah, it's going to be pretty gnarly. So yeah, someone asked in the chat, how's the ammo and reload system? I think it was fine. I'm trying to think if I was dropping ammo. I think I might have been clumsy, but it's one of those things of like, it was my first time in the game, 10, 15 minutes. Well, a lot of these games, once you get the hang of it and you really get into it, that's when the game really takes off. But yeah, the game looked great, and I can't wait to experience it away from a showroom floor.
Yeah.
Also, I've never played Metro, so I don't have any connection with the series. I think that's obviously going to be a big part of it. The only final thing I will say before I let you for any questions is the thing I keep hearing again and again online, and I never played Half-Life Alyx, but I always get nervous when people are like, this is the new Half-Life Alyx. It's like, why are you guys doing this? Because this is not Vertigo Games saying this. This is people out there just saying, this is the new Half-Life Alyx. And it's like, I just find that it's just a really unhelpful comparison, because, there was a time and place for Half-Life Alyx. It definitely set the bar. And it's not to say that this can't be better, but it's like we're in a different world now where quality overall is just incredible. But the bag, the way that you store stuff on it, is excellent. Like the HUD system and everything is super, super cool.
Yeah, what they showed in this video was actually really intriguing to me, because I don't think I've seen a backpack system that worked quite this way before. Usually it's like, oh, you take your backpack off, then there's a bunch of circles, right? And you can put them in there. It's like these are your inventory slots. Saints and Sinners style, or Very Bad Dreams, I think, had the same thing. And then
it's always about what's inside it, isn't it? Whereas this, it's like, oh, your bag, it's stuff hanging on.
Right, there's like a designated place for different things, correct? And And so, do you know if you can open the backpack and you put stuff inside of it, or is it just like, hey, I'm taking this thing and like grabbing stuff from the outside of it?
I'm literally drawing a blank
I mean,
because I
again,
don't know
you
if I'm
played
getting
10 minutes.
I don't
It's
know if I'm
not.
getting confused with another game where you were putting stuff inside it. But yeah, I just remember. I think the ammo stuff is done like on pockets and stuff like you would normally do. But yeah, you obviously holster your weapons on your bag as well. So depending on where it is, if you want to swap the loadout, you can look and see where it is. But yeah, having all the gadgets on it and stuff is just super cool. Again, it feels immersive. It feels like I'm literally. I remember I saw years ago, and it's on YouTube somewhere. Someone did a YouTube video where they calculated the weight of all the ammo and weapons you could carry on you in Grand Theft Auto 5. So it's like a minigun with 999 bullets, and it basically said it ended up weighing like it's the weight of like 10 tanks. Your character is just running around with all that. And that's gameplay things. But in VR, where they're like, no, we're going to actually make it feel like you're only able to carry what you've got on you. That feels more personal and that feels more immersive in these kind of survival situations. So yeah, again, very shallow experience I had with it, but I'm super curious from it all. And
Yeah, listen, I mean, I'm actually digging the Half-Life Alex comparisons, and because the reason is that like we need another game to take that title. We need another game
sure.
to stop looking at as, oh, is it as good as Half-Life Alex? And I would love if it was Metro. If Metro was like, hey, not only is it in yet just like Half-Life, a universe that's beloved by the fans, and this is the first VR outing, and it lets you do a lot of the things that you do in the regular game, right? But in VR and done well, and still offers a full length, challenging experience. Like there haven't been many of those. There's been very few, in fact. Like I don't think Horizon, as good as it might have been, it didn't give us a proper Horizon game. It gave us an awesome climbing game with some Horizon, characters and elements and adversaries, but didn't give us the full Horizon experience. Here's my question, and I know that this is not a question for you, Myles. This is a question for the chat, because I'm sure there's some Metro fans in the chat. But Myles has already stated that he's not played any Metro games ever.
No.
And I've only played the first hour of one of them. I don't even know which one. How many are there? I don't know the answer to these questions. I would love to plug away at a Metro game over the course of the next month before this game comes out to be familiar with the universe. So my question for the chat is, if I was to download a Metro game, a flat screen Metro game, and plug away at it over the course of the next month on my portal before going to bed, which game should it be? Which game would introduce me to the universe properly to prepare for this game in the best possible way? And I will take your advice, because nothing bothers me more, Myles, than having to start every review of Borderlands 2 or Vertigo or you name a game that's like this, and then go, I'm not familiar with this universe, so this is my first outing, right? Like, I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy who's played the games, understands like what the fans are looking for, and then be able to tell you if you got the game you were looking for. Oh, you guys are no help. You're like, Exodus, no, 2033. Metro
is
Exodus 33.
Is one of them on PlayStation Plus? Was one of them a PlayStation Plus game?
I know I have one in my catalog, so that must have been
the one. Yeah, I think I do too.
Yeah, that must have been the one I started and played an hour. So yeah, I don't know. You guys are giving me a little bit of a mix here. It looks like Exodus and 2033 are getting evenly matched. Oh, Kisnell says 2033 or Last Light. Okay.
The other thing I would also say when it comes to like Vertigo games is, depending on what people feel about Arizona Sunshine, it has a special place in my heart just because it was my first like introduction to domestic VR. And I think I did prefer the first game to the second in terms of its place in time. Obviously, the second one is a much superior game, and it's why I'm excited for the remake of the first one.
Yeah.
But I think where people are more split is just the tone of the game. It's a very like, haha, just constantly making jokes, which for some people gets a bit grating. For me, I was kind of like in the middle. But for me, it was still mechanically and visually, it was an awesome game. Metro obviously has a very different feel to it. It's grounded, it's dark, literally and figuratively, and I think to have Vertigo games lean into that kind of tone, this could end up being like their best work yet for that reason, because they're like We know the mechanics. We know how to make the weapons feel good. And by the way, they did feel good. I do remember that as well. That the haptics were excellent.
Nice.
In my playthrough of it.
I mean, in all fairness, this is being developed by Vertigo Games, who developed After the Fall, and like the adaptive triggers and haptics in the PSVR2 version of After the Fall for a game that like I'm not a fan of. I was like, this is the fucking way to play this game right here. Like it made me want to keep playing because the weapons felt so good. And so I feel like with every game that Vertigo releases, they're pulling a little bit more and more into their knowledge base and into their kind of like wheelhouse of what they're capable of doing in VR and especially on PSVR 2. And so that's why I really like, when I watch these trailers, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I've played a bunch of Vertigo games and I kind of like know what these things are going to feel like already. And which is why I'm like, I feel like Vertigo's released some very above average games, but not quite great games. And I think this is going to be their first great game as far as I'm concerned.
And I remember when it was first announced that they were working on this AAA project, and the questions were like, are they right for this? I mean, I had faith in them, but I also understood it was clearly going to be their biggest, most ambitious project yet. But I think that the steps they've taken with Arizona Sunshine 2 and things like that, and what they've been adding to After the Fall, they're a company that's clearly, they've misstepped, they've learned from it, and they're iterating. And they're an excellent team, and if they knock this one out the park, I'm just super excited and super happy for them because they have been one of those VR companies that have been there from the start and are just constantly trying to push it forward. And the reality is, in a space like VR, which is still in its infancy, it requires companies and developers to take risks. And taking risks, by its very nature, don't always pay off. And it doesn't mean that games are either really good or really bad. There's often a lot of times where they're mixed. And so I think something that cannot be denied about Vertigo Games is they are so, passionate about this medium, and they have the talent to, really push forward what is possible on these mediums. So yeah, I'm super, super hyped about this.
Turk in the chat was asking, he's like, isn't this a prequel? Why does it matter? Why do you have to play any of the other games? And it's true. This is a prequel. And so it doesn't matter, I think, narratively, although it would be nice to occasionally see a character and go, oh, I know what happens to this person in the future, right? To actually like have a connection to some of these characters, because I'm sure that there are some legacy characters that will be introduced in Awakening that you meet in later games again. But also the mechanics. The mechanics are the big thing. It's less about the story for me and more about like, hey, they talk about on the PlayStation blog post that they posted today, they talked about putting on the gas mask, and there's going to be some like really dirty areas or like toxic areas where you're going to have to wipe the mask clean. They talk about the flashlight that you wind with a crank to charge it up, right? It's going to go out, I'm sure, at the worst times and go, oh, hurry up, go back up, right? Like these have to be mechanics that were in the other games, just minus the VRAF elements, right? You push a button to crank flashlight, I'm sure, right? But yet here we are. I want to know the difference. I want to like feel what it's like to play these games and experience those mechanics the way they were first given to us, and then say, and here's why the VR version of those things is so much better, so much worse, or whatever it ends up being. So that's kind of I hope that's a good explanation, Turk, if that makes any sense. Chris Forthenberry with the 350 says, really hope Metro Awakening is decently long. Yeah, I hope so too.
I don't know if they've have they mentioned how long it is yet?
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, look, how long do we think it's going to... I genuinely don't know. But I'm assuming... Look, I'm just pulling this out of the air. 8 to 12 hours?
Well, you're giving a very big window there, right?
Well, I guess so. But I don't know. For me, it's like... Games are either... Like, the windows I always think about is... It's either like a 2-hour game. It's up to like 6 to 8 hours. 8 to 12 is just a narrow window, because I think after that is it a 20-hour game? Is it a 40-hour game? Is it a 100-hour game? Those are the kind of windows I feel. And like, when I say 8 to 12, I normally mean like it's a solid 8-hour campaign if you're like really pacingly through it. But then if it's like you want to complete everything, then it's going to extend it a bit more.
Listen, if it's 10 hours, like if I'm taking my time and I get 10 hours out of it, I'm going to be really happy with that. Right?
Yeah, same.
Like the length, I know that people want the length of VR games to drastically go through the roof right now, right? But I think this is just like getting the VRAF mechanics down and like learning the PSVR2 architecture and the PlayStation 5 architecture. Everything is taking time, and for us to get a like a 10-hour VR game has taken some time. I think like 5 or 6 hours was the norm for so long, and even before that, like I'm sure it trended even further down than that. There were so many experiences on PSVR1 that were like 45 minutes to an hour and a half, so like we're getting there. We're slowly getting there. And I'm sure if Metro Awakening is a success, yeah, I think it's $40 as well, right? So again, like this is like Behemoth. I feel like Vertigo Games, Skydance Games, these studios could have said, there's a lot of hype surrounding our new game. We could totally charge $50. And I'm really, really glad that they're not doing that. Right. So if it does turn out to be a 7, 8, 9 hour game and I only paid $40 for, which I'm assuming I'll get a review key. So, I don't know. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. I think that's a decent length time as long as the quality of game we're getting is solid from beginning to end. So, but yeah. Margio's in chat with talking about Canadian dollars. It's Monopoly money, guys. Monopoly money up there. It's like all blue and kids playing hockey on it and stuff. I don't even know. Step said, and on Twitter they said 7 to 10 hours in February. That sounds right. I do remember hearing something along those lines. I was just going through old PlayStation blog posts trying to find that. So thank you, Step.
And the thing is, if you play a 7-hour game and it's really, really good, you're going to want to play it again. Like that's the reality. So it's like, yeah, you'll be like, wow, that was a really good experience. I'd love to play it again. Maybe put the difficulty up, or pieces like that. And also, like, there's a lot of different dynamics. I know when Jamie was talking about this when it was on the State of Play that you did together. He was talking about, because I think he was familiar with Metro. He said like the rail cart thing where you're on the rails shooting, he was glad to see that. And then there's a bit where you see the outside as well. Yeah. So there is some like external things. So like hearing that had also given me a lot of faith in this as well. But look, I hate to sound repetitive with all this sort of stuff, is when it comes to hype, I don't really feel hyped about much anymore unless I have like an emotional attachment to a particular property. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's also because we're spoilt with games, because the amount of just VR games, and anyone that's getting PSVR2 today, the choice they have and what's coming over the horizon, it's just incredible. It really is incredible. And so Metro Awakening is a game I am really looking forward to playing, but I'm not like jumping out of my chair for it, because I don't know, I'm just overwhelmed with all the quality games we've got at the moment.
Somebody left a comment that I remembered. Somebody who's a Metro fan said, when you play Awakening, you should play it on hard, because that's where the game really shines. Ammo will be scarcer. It'll be harder to, find the things you're looking for, whatever it is. And yeah, normally I'm the guy, I want to play the game on normal because I feel like that's the most balanced difficulty. And so when I review it, that is going to be my goal. Hopefully I'll have time to do exactly what I want to do here, play through on normal, but then also take a look at what hard mode brings. Because if people are saying hard mode is where Metro shines, then I want to play that version as well. So I'm definitely going to be checking out that, and whoever that was who commented that, you stuck in my brain. And I want to do right by you and do right by all Metro fans. Like I said, and play a flat screen Metro game sometime this month, and then get into this, and then hopefully experience it on hard mode so I can really enjoy it the way it's supposed to be enjoyed. Hey, Myles.
Hey, Brian.
How's it going?
It's going really good. This has been a great show, and like we've done an hour.
Yeah,
it's flown by.
Listen, before we get out of here and play some 20 questions or 5-minute challenge, just curious. Are there any horror movies or anything October focused central that you are that you're lining up in order to celebrate this spooky month properly?
Well, I have watched. I know you and I have spoken about it. I've watched probably more movies in the last 2 months than I have in the last 3 or 4 years, because I got this app called Letterboxd, which is just great for like seeing lists of movies. adding to your watch list what you want to see, seeing what other people rate it with your friends. And I think it just comes to the heart of like what VR horror has done to me. I've been sat at home in the dark by myself in my living room watching horror movies that I would never have done or thought I'd ever do in my life because I'm such a scaredy cat.
Yep.
But now, because horror movies are in that little safe box in the corner of the room, unlike VR where you're in it, I'm completely fine with it now. But in answer to your question in terms of plans, I mean, look, I definitely want to do some horror game live streams. Obviously, we've got some horror games coming out.
For sure.
But in terms of movies, I'd have to look through my watch list again. But I have been watching... actually, I've added a lot of horror movies to my watch list. Everything from Insidious to Hereditary to... Late Night with the Devil. Is that actually a horror, or is that just like... It's not...
Yeah,
it is a horror.
I had such a good experience with Late Night with the Devil because my apartment was acting very strange leading up to me watching that movie, and so I was in like this kind of fucked up mindset where like I was like, is my apartment like is there like a demon in here right now? Like I like legit like kept looking into the other room the entire time I was watching the movie. So like the atmosphere for me was, so I can't even rate that movie. I have no idea if anybody else had a good experience with it like I did. But I thought it was enjoyable from start to finish. And I think it had just enough horror to call it a horror movie.
It's awesome. Some people going, Myles on Letterboxd. People already following me. I mean, my account is just, look how dusty that is. Choosing your top 4 favorite movies. I need to do this list again. That is really hard to see. But these are the last 4 I've seen. So American Beauty.
Nice.
The Silence of the Lambs.
Nice.
Does anyone call it The Silence of the Lambs? Everyone just calls it Silence of the Lambs, right? They removed the.
If you had asked, I would have said it's not called The Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's The Silence of the Lambs. And then I saw The Taking of Deborah Logan.
Which I really
And then
liked.
most recently...
Did I recommend Deborah Logan to you?
I asked you about it because I've seen it for a while, and then you said like you had a good time with it.
Yeah, I love found footage, and I love anything like that. Yeah.
Same. People are going to hate me for this. I watched the last movie I watched was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original.
Mm-hmm.
And look, it's old. It clearly inspired so much in horror, but like watching it now, I found it grating. Like I don't know what was more grating, the chainsaw whirring for the last 40 minutes or just the constant screaming. But it definitely had like really memorable scenes in it, and I respect it for what it was. But the thing I like about Letterboxd is every movie I watch, I will leave like a mini review. So like if anyone is on there, follow me. Like it's just such a cool way of finding out stuff and like seeing what people are recommended. So that was a bit of a long-winded answer.
I'm downloading it now.
Good, dude. I want to follow you, and like you don't have to do reviews and stuff, but like it will just say, oh, you've added this to your watch list, or you've reviewed, because you don't have to give full reviews. You can just give it from 0 to 5 stars. But what's really great is on every movie you can watch like the most liked reviews, and if they've got spoilers in it will hide them, which is good. But like the top reviews are always really, really funny because it's always just like referential to something that happens in the film that's just really great. So yeah, but yeah, in terms of horror games, Phasmophobia, do we actually have a date on it now?
No. Phasmophobia is during their Halloween event, which I think people have said starts 2 weeks before Halloween, roughly, usually. And so we're like about 2 weeks out from getting it. So hopefully we'll have more information soon. Everybody's just fucking champing at the bit for a release date.
Yeah. That's cool. So,
yeah, I saw old Darth in the chat say
about
Salem's Lot 2024, and is already queued up. That is what I'm watching tonight on HBO Max. Very interested. It's been so long since I've seen the original Salem's Lot that I don't even know how much I'm going to have to compare it to. I may have to watch the original tonight as well. But that is next on my list.
It's also made me want to go back and watch movies again I've not seen in a while, because what's also great is when you do a review, you say when you've watched it, or you can say I'm watching it again. So like Event Horizon. Actually, I don't want obviously to derail too much because we're just at an hour. I don't want to go on for another 2.
Right.
But something I've been actually, this does relate to PSVR2, and again we've spoken about this off the show, but something I've used a lot in the last few weeks. I was very late to the party with this. Was big screen on my Meta Quest 3.
Yeah.
And everyone's talked about it for years and years. I genuinely cannot believe how mind-blowingly good big screen is. And even to the point that you can do a virtual, like I once went to bed and I was in this virtual bedroom on a virtual bed lying down, and then I went on Disney Plus and I started watching Prey on the ceiling of this virtual like bedroom while on my actual bed, and I was like, this is incredible. Or like going in a massive theater. Or something I did one evening was we were in around a campfire in the middle of the woods, and I hosted a room that was public, and we were watching short horror movies. And I was just going through YouTube, and we were just watching like 6-minute horror movies, and it was amazing. And I was like, I actually want to do this as sort of like a film club. So if enough cats are interested, and if they have big screen, after this show, I'll jump on big screen for a bit, and I'll set up a room, and we can just watch some short horror movies around this campfire. If anyone wants to join in on that, we'll do it for like an hour or something. The quality is so good, but the reason I brought it up was they had Event Horizon in 3D. Playing in one of the cinemas, and I couldn't believe how good 3D looked. And the final thing is, as we say again and again, Sony, how have you not got an app like this on PSVR2?
So
like yeah, because like the YouTube app I'd always use on the Meta Quest, I thought this is amazing, and then I watched big screen, and it's like when you're in the theater, the way that the screen lights up the chairs and the walls in the room with what you're watching. I even went on a custom map where you're on an aircraft, you're on a plane, and you're watching it on the screen in front of you. And I had some lo-fi music, chill music, and I literally could have fallen asleep like on this virtual airplane just listening to relaxing music. Like, it's such a cozy game. But yeah, what I would say is when the show is over, like at the moment it's like almost 10 past the hour. 30 past the hour, if you got big screen, go on it and just look up, I don't know, Myles' horror short movies or something like that. I'll set up a room and we can chill and hang out for an hour or something like that, if anyone wants to do it.
Yeah, real quick in the comments, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat talking about some great stuff. Zimtalk is saying Sergio Hidalgo teased his next game on Twitter. Sadly, it's not a horror game. If anybody's familiar, he's the guy who made Dread Halls and Cosmo Dread. One-person dev team, makes amazing games. Not a horror game, unfortunately. So, like, I don't even know how interested I am, but I am curious to see what else he can do. Alejandro D, Underground Stranger Game Cat says, has anyone seen Skinamarink? I've heard good things. I think it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Alejandro, the people who like it really like it. I don't understand. It's not scary. It's extremely boring. I had to watch it in 2 sittings because I kept falling asleep. It's awful. And that's it. Somebody said that they didn't like Event Horizon, and now you're dead to me. So
no. I haven't seen it in such a long time. So
Jeff Purdue says, I think Event Horizon is awful. Dude, I haven't seen it since like 2005. So maybe it hasn't aged well. I have no idea. Myles, you ready for the 5-minute challenge?
Let's do it. Who's going? Who's you're hosting.
I've got the game, and you are guessing as many questions as you want, but you only get 5 minutes. Get ready, everybody. Help him out. On your mark. Get Des. Go.
Is it on PSVR2?
No.
I'm sorry, I practice.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Why would it be? That'd be too easy.
I don't know. Yeah. Do you use an aim controller?
No.
Do you use move controllers?
Yep.
Can you use the DualShock?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, according to the PlayStation Store, I hope the PlayStation Store is correct.
Yeah, sure. Are you shooting as a main mechanic?
Yeah.
Okay. Was it? Would you consider it to be a good game?
No, I don't think it's a good game.
Okay. Is it like cartoony aesthetic?
Sometimes.
Have they gone for realism?
Sometimes.
Is it intended to be a horror game?
Yes. I like the way you phrase that.
Yeah. Is it a wave shooter?
No.
Would it scare me?
Doubtful. I do not believe it's scary.
Okay. Are there zombies in it?
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think so. I'm assuming so.
You're assuming so. Okay, and that's
Yeah.
not sarcasm. You generally, that's not you trying to throw me off. Um,
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm on your side. I want
yeah.
you to win.
Okay. And you're shooting in this.
Chef is so funny.
Is are you're going round on foot, right? You're
No.
walking.
Nope.
Oh, you're not. You're in a vehicle.
Yeah.
Um, Man, I just feel like every game has just gone out of my head. I think 20 questions makes it easier because you're much more like you just start reading off questions like I've forgotten everything I asked. Are you controlling the vehicle you're on? Sorry, is it a rail shooter?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not, guys. It's PSVR only. Or sorry, it's not on PSVR2, and it's not a great game, so it's not Russia Blood. It's not based on a popular IP.
No, sir.
So it's not Wolfenstein, which I don't even know that would have counted for it. Are you on a roller coaster?
Yes.
Oh man, I don't really know the roller coaster games that well, unfortunately. Because Loop is saying Darkness roller coaster, but oh man. I mean, I could go for it, but I genuinely can't remember Darkness roller coaster. So I'll see what the chat is saying. Is everyone saying it's Darkness roller coaster? Yeah. Does it have a roller coaster in the name?
Yes.
And would you say it's not like a light game? There's not a lot of light in it. It's like, what's the opposite of that?
It's more filled with darkness. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. Would you say there's more darkness in it?
I would say it's half darkness and half roller coaster. Sure.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
And half and half like that, with the darkness first, then the roller coaster, or would it be roller coaster first, then the darkness?
I would put it in the first order you had it in. I think you had it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, is it Russia Blood? No. Is it Darkness Roller Coaster, Brian?
Yes, it is. Coming out of us from Creative VR 3D.
Yeah, remind me of this one, please.
Yeah.
Well done, Looper. I think Looper first.
Came out in 2020. I gave it a really bad score, and then the developers hated me. But they ended up making Bad Dreams, and then Very Bad Dreams, which was like, a massive step up, even if those games are still janky. I just think these games are pretty bad. It is, however, coming to PSVR 2 at the end of this month. So
right.
you'll get to play it for your very self, Myles. That's soon
awesome.
enough. Yeah, it was kind of all over the place. That's why, was it going for realism? Yes, some areas are. The very first area is very cartoony. I don't even know if there are zombies. I just remember these kind of cartoon skeletons running at you with like swords and stuff. I was like, yeah.
What was the roller coaster game? There was another roller coaster game that you played where one of them was like you're in a toy, like a kid's bedroom, I think, as a toy.
That's called
Isn't
Coaster.
there one? It was Coaster. That was it. Okay, so Coaster was the one I was familiar with. I wasn't familiar with this one.
Gotcha.
I mean, look at the trailer. The environments look kind of cool, but
Yeah.
that doesn't. Yeah.
They threw a lot of stuff at you, and just kind of not a lot of it worked.
That's a shame.
Magnum Gaming with the $5 tip says getting a pre-order backpack in VR feels more tangible than if it were on flat. I haven't looked into the Metro Deluxe Edition pre-order thing or whatever it is. Is it a pre-order bonus? Is it from buying the Deluxe Edition? I have no idea. I'm gonna have to take a look into that because I keep saying that Metro is $40, but there is a $50 version of it that you can buy. But I agree with you. When you can actually get to take off a backpack in game and go, oh, this is a special one I got. Yeah, look at that. It is more special.
By the way, Darkness Roller Coaster, is it taking advantage of all the PSVR 2 features?
Oh God, only knows.
Awesome.
Only knows. These guys are. I feel like they should have left Darkness Roller Coaster behind many millennia ago, right? They had something good with Bad Dreams, and they've been updating that constantly. I'm shocked that this thing is coming to PSVR 2. Shocked, Myles. But again, I do want every PSVR 1 game to come to PSVR 2. I want all VR games, Quest 1, Quest 2, Quest 3, Steam. I want every VR game to come to PSVR 2. And so this is just another one to check off the list eventually. Yep. All right, everyone, make sure you go file Myles. Follow Myles.
Follow me in your favorites on Letterboxd. Yeah, follow me on
Subscribe to him on
Letterboxd.
youtube.com/Myles. Go find him on Letterboxd. Go hang out with him in big screen. It's going to be a good time. And make sure you come join our Discord. Leave viewer takeover questions. Come shoot the shit with us. I'm there like 24/7. Even when it doesn't look like I'm there, I'm always there. Because I've got Discord open while I'm working, and I'm always working. So thank you guys so much. Dude, a Friday episode that ended in under 3 hours. I'm pretty impressed with ourselves.
Well, it's not over yet. Something could happen.
Very true. All right, you guys. Thanks to everybody who helps the channel run, including all my moderators. They're all awesome. Go check us out on podcast services. Leave us a review over there. Shout out to everyone who helps me financially, not just the Patreon members or the members here. You guys are all awesome. But there's also obviously the people who tip during the show. There's everyone who hangs out, just shoots the shit in the chat, keeps us entertained while we try to keep you entertained. And everyone who sits back, watches the show, and doesn't say a goddamn word. We know you're out there. And we love you just as much. Happy Friday, Myles.
I miss saying that. Happy Friday, Brian. Happy Friday, GameCats. Have a wonderful weekend.
Let's go. Myles, I've got a very special clip of the week.
I haven't seen this.
All right, well, you can feel free to watch it because I forgot to queue it up. I forgot to do it at the right time before before the post credit scene. So feel free to watch it. It's only a few seconds.
No, this is classic. This is classic Friday show. We used to do it at this point.
Oh, right. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's go back to how it was.
All right.
It's just the way it is.
Cool. This this clip of the week comes to us from loyal GameCat Brian Paul, who is working on PSVR this week today. And if you guys don't know, I am actually terrible at voiceovers. I write my script and then it takes me like 17 tries.
I did see this.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, here it is, guys. Preview of PSVR this week, except before it was edited. Man, it's always a great week when Gaijin Entertainment shares more Aces of Footage gameplay footage with us. When Gaijin Entertainment shares more Aces of gameplay footage with us. It's so dumb, dude. It's so
editing
dumb.
Editing is so overrated, man. Editing is so overrated.
Dude, I said it wrong. I said Aces of Footage or Aces of Gameplay or whatever the fuck I said. And then on my second attempt I got it wrong again. And then I just left it. I didn't even, like, do you ever make mistakes and then not even realize you made a mistake until you're chopping up like voiceovers and shit and go, oh my God, like, so the workers were here tearing shit apart in my apartment and I just had to re-record a new line like while they were working. It's like, so fucking dumb, dude. This is not like some one-off, right? If you ever see my edits, like I have to chop up. I've got to record like 15 minutes of voiceovers to get a solid 4-minute video. Like that's how bad I am at voiceovers.
Always sound good in the end, though. Dude, I've just realised something. This is how tired I am. I've just realised I've done this entire show without wearing any earphones. So I've actually had you coming out my speakers the entire show. And fortunately, it's not been causing any echo.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
This is this condenser mics are actually pretty good for that. So yeah, I was just thinking, shit, I forgot to wear, because I was going to watch the clip and I thought, oh shit, it's all coming out my laptop.
Dude, I one time I know we're trying to end the show early now. It's story time. The very first time I ever got pulled over, for speeding.
First time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I've been pulled over a lot for various reasons. But the very first time I was young, I was like, I've only had my license for like a year or two or something, or maybe a year. And I just come from recording an album, and so like I was really like excited, right? I was like, oh my god, like I just recorded this thing, and it was so professional, it's great, whatever. And it was like late at night, I'm driving back, and I'm blasting through this small town, like the center of this small town, but like there's no one on the road, right? I'm going like 50 or 60 through a 30. And this cop out of nowhere puts on his lights, pulls me over. I'm like the only car on the road. There's nothing I can do. But in my head, I'm like, oh my god, I've learned about this. I know what to do and what to say. I want to make sure that he walks up and feels comfortable, like approaching the vehicle. I'm like, so I turn on the interior lights. I put the car in park. I might have even turned off the engine, rolled my window down, put my hands at 10 and 2 on the wheel. Right, made sure I had my like license and registration ready. He walks up and goes, "Can you turn the music down, please?" Dude, I was so out of it because I was so focused on everything else. I could have completely forgotten that I was blasting music, like just so loud, like that part of it just didn't register with me. Like, does that even make sense?
No, it's your normal. So you're just like, yeah, just wasn't thinking about that.
I was just so nervous that like I didn't even hear the music anymore. I was just trying to do the right thing, and I did the awful thing. He walked up to a car that was blasting music. I did not get out of that ticket.
Oh man, what did the ticket say? Obnoxiously loud music.
He probably wrote, "He's a fucking moron" on the ticket. That's probably because that's what I was. I was a fucking moron. So I deserved every penny of that ticket. All right, you guys, we're out of here. I love you so much. Have a great weekend. And hey, tune in tomorrow for the Madison Spoiler cast. It's going to be a lot of fun. We love you all.
And big